The following is a Spirit Street production.
Man, oh man, football is back, people. Look, today we are just recognizing two of our teams, Utah and Cincinnati. We're talking to them about the upcoming games this weekend, just trying to get a feel. Look, these are two games that I think everybody would suspect that both of these teams win. We're going to dive into it a little bit and talk to some of our publishers that cover both teams and get this thing going. Football, it's almost here. It's almost here, people. This is the Big 12 Insiders.
Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show, presented by Synergy Financial Partners. Now let's go to booming North Texas, home of Studio 73. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
All right, today we are just talking about the upcoming games. We got UC on today. We got my man Chad Brendel talking about Cincinnati. You're taking on Townsend this week, Chad. What is UC looking to try to get out of this game?
I think the biggest thing is, let's be honest, last year the pass defense was an unmitigated disaster.
Right.
Townsend, at least looking at last year, they're a team that does put the ball in the air a lot. And I think you have to find out, how are we at corner? What do we look like at safety? I know it's not going to be, a Big 12 level test, but, you got to pass 101 before you move to 201.
Right.
And for this defense, that's going to be one of the biggest things is, what do they look like against the pass this year? Because I think the biggest thing I noticed last year when kind of going back through the season, as the season went on, teams weren't afraid of third down.
Right.
In football, that is, if your opponent is not afraid of third down, you're in big trouble, boy. And they were
Correct.
in big trouble a lot.
Well, and that third down's the money down, obviously. So
right.
You got to be able to get off the field. It helps your entire football team by being able to get off the field. Speaking of getting off the field or maybe staying on the field, look, if there was one thing that UC did last year on offense was run the football. Obviously, They're going to try to do that. I got to think, although they're probably not going to show a ton of stuff, but I got to think that they're going to try to establish the passing game a little bit to get some confidence in a new quarterback system or new quarterback that's in the system to try to get some confidence going with that passing game.
I would, yeah, definitely. Brendan Sorsby, I think has a chance to be really, really good. I think it's important for people to realize, yes, he played at Indiana. He only started 7 games. He's a redshirt sophomore. So there's still like the arrow is still pointing up on him. He is not coming in as, a lot of these quarterback transfers, they're like 4th, 5th year transfers. Emory Jones last year at Cincinnati. What you see is what you get type of transfers. I don't think that's Brendan Sorsby. I think there is still a lot left to learn and left to grow for Brendan Sorsby. So I think that's something that they do need to kind of knock the rust off early. They've got an ACC school in Pitt in week 2.
Right.
So I think you do want to, make sure that the passing game is looking good. But, they're going to be tempted. Like Scott Satterfield loves to run that football, boy.
Yes.
You might not see Corey Kiner doing a lot of it.
Gotcha.
But I got a name for you, Big B.
Okay.
Chance Williams.
Chance Williams.
He was a 1,000-yard rusher at the FCS level last year.
Okay.
He's an explosive back. We thought coming in, he was going to be more of like a third down scat back type. As we got through camp, he was running between the tackles. He was running with some power. And he has moved ahead of, at least on the school depth chart, he's moved ahead of Evan Pryor, who was a high 4-star Ohio State transfer. Chance Williams has moved into that backup spot, the number 2 spot behind Corey Kiner. So I think we might get to see a lot of Chance Williams on Saturday and see if they've got a little thunder and lightning type deal.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, you mentioned it. Scott Satterfield likes to run the ball inside, outside zones. We saw a lot of that last year, and it was effective. What should the fans be looking for out of this game? Because you know how fans can be sometimes. If fans are just going to sit down, okay, you know what? Because I've given UC fans a lot of credit. They are very knowledgeable when it comes to football. I mean, they understand what's going on. They understand what they see. So let's see if they're watching this game. what do they want to see other than the passing game? What should the fans just get excited about when they see this on Saturday?
I think the thing for me is control the tempo of the game.
Okay.
And some of that too is Dante Corleone's probably not going to be. I'm confident Dante Corleone's not going to play this week. That's not official. That is me. He has not done 11 on 11 stuff yet, and that was as of. I don't know if you know this, Bree. I told Tim this. We get one practice a week.
Oh wow.
We got all the camp. I was at every minute of every practice, the entire camp. And then during the season, we get Tuesdays, practice is open to the media.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
And not like stretching, like
right.
We get the whole thing. And he's not back out there as of yesterday, which was Tuesday. I don't think he's going to be playing on Saturday.
No.
It's starting to sound like it's going to be sooner than later, but it's not going to be Saturday.
Right.
So we need to see what the run defense looks like. And, that is something that really, they were really good last year for about half the season. And then once that pass defense got exposed, then they started having to drop 8 in coverage and trying to cover up for, how that works.
Yep.
You're chasing Peter to pay Paul. Drop 8. Well, now Ollie Gordon's running for 230 yards on us.
Right.
We're dropping 8 in coverage. So that balance on defense, I think, is what Cincinnati fans should really be looking for in their ability to just kind of control the pace of the game. Other than that, just be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Don't one of the things I saw in one of the scrimmages, they went out, bang, bang, bang. They scored 3 touchdowns, and then the offense went silent for like 45 minutes.
Yep.
Can't have that.
No.
And then they came back to life at the end of the scrimmage, bang, 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 and scored a couple touchdowns. That they did not. I know it's a buzzword. I hate buzzwords. Last year, they did not play complimentary football. In fact, their football was very uncomplimentary. So they have to get back. That was the staple of like why Luke Fickell had success.
Right.
It's one level complemented the next level, complemented the next side of the ball, and everything just kind of worked in a really good rhythm. And what you saw last year was, well, this went south, and then they tried to plug the hole here, and then a leak sprung over here, and then now you've got your fingers and your toes, and you're trying to plug holes. It was bad, and that's how you end up at 3-9, less holes, less. But then again, how these FCS games go.
Yeah,
they played Eastern Kentucky last year, and Emory Jones threw for like 7 touchdowns.
Right,
and then he threw for like 7 touchdowns the rest of the season. So you have to take it with a grain of salt, but be consistent.
Well, and that's the thing is like just getting off to a good start. Just get out there, play some good football, get off the field on 3rd down, make plays on offense. I would probably like to say that Scott Satterfield's wanting to see some explosive plays just to give people some confidence. You know what? Okay, we're getting off to a good start. Let's go play some football. Not going to expose too much, run our basic stuff. I think fans are going to like that. But more importantly, Chad, I think it's good for the guy's confidence coming off of last season to get back into playing a football game. Look, I'm not saying Townsend's just some pushover. I'm not trying to do that because we've seen it happen. We think a team is a pushover and they come up and bite you. I don't think that's going to happen here. I just think UC just needs to get off to a good start. A good start.
Go into halftime 28-3 or whatever it is. Like, go into that halftime locker room, giving guys some high fives and puffing your chest out a little bit because you played well.
Right.
That's going to be a key for this thing for sure.
Good. Well, thank you, Chad, man. I appreciate you giving us some time today. Look, UC fans are mad at me. I picked them at the bottom of the league, so they're mad at me. They've been coming at me, but I just
picked them below Houston and Arizona State.
I did. Don't kill me. Don't run over the messenger. Look, I respect UC. I do. I want them to be better, but I got to see it. I got to see it.
Yeah,
I got to see it out there on the field.
I got to see it from Houston too, and Arizona State stinks.
But look, I'm biased. I already said I'm biased with Houston because I love Willie Fritz. I know him personally, So I'm biased.
right.
I can't put them last, Chad. I just can't do it.
B, I can't shoot the messenger. You wrote the message.
I totally understand, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving us your time today, my man. Look, you see, hopefully they get off to a good start. I suspect they will against Townsend. We will be right back here in a few minutes.
Welcome back to the show. Let's head back to the studio.
All right, welcome back to the Big 12 Insiders. Again, this is your man, Big B. We are welcoming in Michelle Bodkin. She covers Utah. Michelle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really great. Football is in the air, and we're about to get this thing kicked off. So excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot wait for football to start. Look, Utah fans, Utah in general, everybody, they've got something to look forward to. Fans, coaches, players, media. I think people are really, really excited about being in the Big 12. Speaking of this upcoming game, obviously people are picking Utah to win this game. They should win this game pretty handily.
Yeah.
What would the coaching staff be looking to try to get out of this first game?
Yeah, so I think number one for Utah is get out of it healthy. Let's not have any major crisis level type injuries, which is something that they dealt with all last season. I would say that's number one. Number two is getting a lot of good work, not only for your starters, again, a lot of whom are coming off of injuries. Just let them get a feel for the game again, but get them out before, accidents start happening.
Yep.
I think you really want to start looking at your twos and your threes and just giving them a chance to show off what they can do, maybe finalize a few things on the depth chart if you're still a little undecided on a couple of things. And number three, I think, is just have good film that you can kind of really review. Again, you can try and simulate all you want to in practice what actual live game action is going to be, but it's still different. Even if you are playing, a lower level team like Southern Utah, it's just different when you're actually playing at full speed, full strength.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think to get that film to really evaluate what are our deficiencies, what do we still need to work on, what do we still need to tweak, I think is huge for a team that has so much kind of riding on this season.
Right. Yeah, well, the one thing that you had mentioned as far as getting the good work for your starters, and also working the twos and threes. I talked to this a little bit yesterday, and we were talking about Kansas State with Fitz on that podcast. Does Utah with Kyle Whittingham, does he try to get the twos and threes in, mixing them in with the ones? Because there's a difference between, look, it's all football reps. Don't get me wrong. They're all football reps and they all count. But we all know there's a difference between, I shouldn't say meaningful snaps, but early when the game's in the balance type of snaps. Is that something that Kyle Whittingham will do with some of the twos and threes, kind of try to mix them in earlier in the game? Or is he going to work his starters, kind of build a lead, and then get the twos and the threes in later after that?
I think this is a game where he'll probably do more of the latter. In other games, I think you'll see different rotations of people. Utah loves to rotate people in and out to keep guys fresh if they have the depth to do it. And it looks like this year they definitely do at a lot of places. This is a game where I think it'll be a little more clear cut, because I think they just really want to see, what are our ones doing? What are our twos doing? What are our threes doing? You might see a little intercrossing again. There's a couple of oars on that depth chart. So I wouldn't be shocked or surprised if maybe more of a two-ish guy gets put in with the ones, just to see, are you matching at this level or are you more at this level? But I think the Southern Utah game is going to be a little bit more clear cut. And as the games get harder and tougher, I think that's when you might start seeing more of that intermixing that you were talking about.
Gotcha. We talked about getting good work in for the starters. Look, Cam Rising coming back off a knee injury, missed all of last season. Outstanding quarterback, kind of the glue of the Utah, not just the offense, but the entire football team. Him coming back, with all the experience that he has, obviously they're going to want to get the lead early, get other guys in the game. Are we going to see a lot of him? Because he's not a guy, even though you want to get some rust off of him, you also don't want to expose him to excess injury. Are we going to see a lot of him? Obviously, if the game is not in, a close football game, are we going to see a lot of him, or is he just going to get the regular work with all the ones and then go from there?
I would be shocked if we see a ton of him. If he's in much past halftime, I would be a little surprised, I think.
Right.
And it's partly, he has proven, like, yes, needs to get the live game reps and take that first big hit and some of that kind of stuff. But this is just a game where I don't think you want to risk being reckless with him or really any of the guys that count. So I think as soon as they can get guys like him out, and specifically him out, I think that's what they're going to do. And I mean, they have a young, great freshman that looks like he has all the promise in the world in Isaac Wilson, a little bit of a local hero here. His family's highly connected to the state of Utah and the University of Utah, as well as BYU. So, I think a lot of people are going to be very curious to see what the future maybe looks like. And I can't think of a better game than Southern Utah to really just say, hey, kid, let it rip.
Gotcha. One last question before I get you out of here, Michelle. Let's talk about the Utah fans. Look, as I've had you on a couple of different times, I like a hostile crowd. And I know that Utah Stadium is very hostile. But sometimes people misconstrue what Utah fans are talking about. On the message boards, they think they don't want to be here and all that kind of stuff. I just don't listen to that. I think Utah fans just love their football team and they love their program. And it's kind of is what it is. I think our program is better than yours. Deal with it. I like that from Utah fans. What is their feeling coming into the not only the Big 12, but the actual football season? How, I guess a good question, like how excited are those fans right now?
I think there's a lot of excitement with the team. I think there's a little uncertainty about the Big 12, and we've talked about this before. This isn't what the fans asked for.
No.
If they had their choice, they'd still be in the Pac-12, and understandably so. And I know that, in years past, the conversation was a bunch of these Big 12 teams might get relocated somewhere. And I know those fans were very passionate about, we don't want that. So, but I think ultimately once the games start getting played, everybody gets familiar with each other. You start building those kind of friendships and in some cases frenemies. I think it's all the same, and I think people will kind of come along and adjust to being in a new situation. It's a little hard at first because you don't know what you don't know. And again, it wasn't something you were asking for or wanting to have happen, but I mean, people adjust all the time. Change happens all the time. So I fully expect some of that uncertainty to start going away pretty quick once we start getting into actual games and playing. But as far as the team itself, there's tons of excitement. And I think there's tons of excitement over, what they can potentially do. I think there's tons of excitement. And I don't think it's just Utah fans. I think it's fans of teams in general. We've wanted this 12-team playoff forever because, as Kyle Whittingham would call it, the 4-team invitational just really wasn't a great measurement of who the best team in the country is. So now you have a little more opportunity getting every conference champion in, and being able to kind of play and compete for, and may the best man win. And I know Utah fans certainly think Utah is that for the Big 12. I think Kansas State also has a pretty good argument, as well as maybe Oklahoma State and a couple of others, but we'll see what it's going to be. But I think there is a lot of excitement, and I think it's good that we're finally actually going to have games we're able to talk about and analyze and just put all the arguments to rest, right? Scoreboard, baby.
Yes. Just cannot wait for football to start. And that's the main thing is that I think everybody's just tired of all the realignment and all of that stuff. And literally all of that goes away once they kick the first football off. Nobody wants to hear about that. That's why I was so surprised that we heard that news about UConn possibly coming into the Big 12.
Yeah.
I was just, why are you coming out? We had all summer to talk about that. Why are we doing it? Number one, I don't think it's a good idea. But number two, why are we doing that now? It's just, hey, man, let's just play some football. Let's
Yeah.
just play some football and let everything else figure itself out at a different time. So
Amen. Amen. I am so with you there on that.
absolutely. Well, thank you, Michelle. We appreciate you giving us your time again today. Utah fans, again, I love your passion. And again, I'll tell you flat out, I love your hostility. The more hostile, the better. I like it. There is nothing wrong with the fan base being hostile. I think it's great because you know what? You come into the Big 12 or anywhere, those fans are going to be hostile towards you. So you might as well be right back at them. So I love it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all for taking the time, or for you, Michelle, taking the time today. We will be right back.
Welcome back to the show. Let's head back to the studio.
All right, welcome back to Big 12 Insiders. Look, this is Big B, Brien Hanley. Football is right here, people. It's right on the cusp. I know, crap. Let me get this out of here. Damn it. Got to start again. Sorry about that. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Big 12 Insiders. This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Look, Cincinnati, Utah, both strong fan bases, proud fan bases. Just looking forward to getting some football going. I cannot wait. Now, UC fans, I know you're mad at me, and I apologize. It's just the way I see it right now. Right now. Go prove me wrong. Please, go prove me wrong. I don't mind being wrong. I really don't. Utah fans, the hostility. Don't let anybody take that away from you, man. I know people are going to try to do that and try to badmouth you and say that you're not being a good partner. Hey, be hostile, because I promise you, when you lose, or if you lose a game, those fans are going to be hostile towards you. That's what makes this thing fun, is the hostility, the back and forth. I know it gets disrespectful, which I don't like, but it is what it is. We like it. We love it. That's what makes us passionate. Cannot wait for football to actually get here. I just cannot wait. I love Big 12. I love Big 12 football. It's right around the corner, people. It's right around the corner. Thank you guys for listening. As always, remember to like, follow, subscribe, leave those comments. We appreciate everybody being here. Thank you for all your support. This is the Big 12 Insiders.
This has been a GoPowercat.com and Spirit Street production. Please support this show by subscribing to this YouTube channel or follow us on your favorite podcast platform.